Well, Lancia Thema 8.32. A CI travel home, no less. But look at the beautiful chrome and paint on that. What a treat to see that here. It's the old two-stroke Wartburg, but lost in 7-box saloon. Past the Vauxhall Calibra and the Saab. Next to that Cresta we have a fairly early Triumph Herald Coupe. And the Van den Plas Princess, the 3-litre Princess. A little 8, of course we like a standard 8, rare sights. I think that's an Octavia Estate, Citroen ID19. DAF 55. Well, good morning all, welcome to Old Classic Car today. I'm down at the British Motor Museum at Gaydon. It's a lovely fresh morning, the end of September 2024, and today it is Rustival. Now this is an event I haven't been to before. Today is the second running of this particular meeting. I'm not quite sure what's going to turn up. I'm guessing a little bit of everything. Anything that's enthusiast owned will be here today. Classic cars, retro cars, and just cars that are just getting on a bit in age. So I think we're in for a fairly varied day, but let's amble over there and see what's here today. Yeah, this is an event that was orchestrated by a group of automotive YouTubers. It'll be really interesting to see what cars are here today. Oh, I spy a standard over there. I'm looking forward to walking around this car park over here. There are several car parks that we're going to need to check out before the day's over. I'm here solo today. The youthful one, the youthful assistant, isn't with me today, so it's just down to me to try and see as much of this show as we can. Rover 800 Coupe. And the Citroen DS, of course, from about 1971. A TVR. Triumph Vitesse convertible, 1967. Ooh, the first of no doubt many Mark 1 MX-5s we'll see here today. I spy air-cooled Citroens. Is that a dolly up there? It's a beautiful 1964 Rover P4. Here's a rare sight, a Citroen Visa in GTI form. Those headlamps are quite distinctive on this model. Following the Toyota we have an Alfa Romeo SZ, the Zagato bodied Alfa Romeo. Very, very distinctive looking car from back in the 1980s, late 1980s or the beginning of the 1990s. Yeah, very, very distinctive looking car, left-hand drive. It's on a private registration, so we can't get the date off that. Most of the cars are already in situ, but there are still a few arrivals, including that Saab Cabriolet. Little Hyundai there. We're going to see lots of 80s and 90s cars here today, I think. Skoda Favourite Estate, no less. Little Toyota Corolla next. Automatic too, that's probably quite unusual now. I think we're going to see lots of cars that, well, you know, until fairly recently were quite common on the roads here in the UK, but now have all but disappeared. Right, it's time to start having a look around the cars that are already here, because I know from experience that quite often people have to start heading off sort of 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, especially if they travel quite a long way. So yeah, I think it's probably a good idea to make a start down here, and I think to begin with we'll go over to the parking area to the right. Actually, the mobile stage is interesting. It's based on a Ford D series from, what's age range, about 1970 or thereabouts. That was a good year, if indeed it is 1970. Yeah, I've not seen that before. Plenty of wiring in here. Good heavens. Yeah, there's a huge variety of enthusiast-owned cars here today, but as always we'll try and feature just a little bit of everything as much as we can, and focus mainly on the older cars because this is the Old Classic Car channel. Next to the Volvo we have a Morris Minor convertible, no less, this one on an H-plate, so about 1970, just like that Ford D series lorry we were looking at just a moment ago. What a cracking looking car this is. Oh, very nice indeed. We've got an Alfa Coupe alongside that from the late 1990s, and a Golf GTI Mark 1. Now the sun is still quite low in the sky, so we'll try not to get too many shadows involved. We'll go up here past the Alfa Romeo and the fantastic Volvo estate, and look at this, an immaculate Citroen BX. That is a very well preserved example. Got a VW Corrado, one of the VR6 powered cars over there for sale, £15,000. A little Alfa over here. Let's carry on down here. Like I say, a real mixture of cars here today. A little Hyundai, a little Accent. Or is it oh, it's a Lantra. I tell a lie. It is a 1997 Hyundai Lantra. Ooh, X300 Jaguar. I'm down here today in our X308. One of the longer runs I've done in it, certainly at the point of recording this particular video, but that's an immaculate car, that is. I wonder which model that is. Let's go and have a look around the back, see if we can find any information. It's in really nice condition. Was it a Sport perhaps? Yep, it's an XJ Sport, so that'll have the 3.2 straight 6 in it. Oh. Yep, it's immaculate. So that's the immediate predecessor to the car that I came down in today. Right, let's have a gentle amble along here and see what other gems we can spot. We've got the MGZ TT, the estate version of the MGZ T, which was based on the Rover 75. Got an MX-5 Mark III here, the big Audi. Is that an S8 in 2002? Another Rover 800 Coupe here, one of the facelift cars. Slightly different front end and grille on these. And over here in left-hand drive form we have a Lancia Thema 8.32, so this had a Ferrari developed engine. This was part of the Type 4 project between Lancia, Alfa, who were the other ones? Saab and Fiat, wasn't it? So yeah, so they sort of developed between them like a common structure in the centre section with, I think, they were the same doors, and then they were tailored individually by the separate car manufacturer. So you had cars like the Alfa 164, the Saab 9000, the Fiat Chroma, and so on. Okay, another Morris Minor here, little two-door Moggy 1000. Got an Audi 80 over here on a G plate. Pretty wild looking Peugeot pickup. Never seen one of those before, so I've no idea what I'm looking at there. And we've got an M5, an E28 M5 BMW circa 1987. Same colour as a 535i that I used to have many years ago. Proper M5, 286 brake horsepower. What a great looking car that is. I'd have those over a modern M5 any day of the week. We've got a Porsche Boxster here, and on the end a great little Vauxhall Corsa. Immaculate, and again just a sort of car that used to be everywhere at one time. I remember my dad had one of these as a sort of a second car many moons ago, but that one's long gone, as have most of those that were built. So yeah, to see one in such great condition is really quite unusual now. And tucked away over here on the gravelled area we have a Rover SD1 Vitesse, the twin plenum Vitesse in Moonraker blue. Apparently only 500 of these were produced. There we go, a bit of info there. Yeah, super clean car, and what is my favourite colour for one of these. Very sharp looking car indeed. VW Sirocco alongside that, and a little bit of me on the end here. A magnificent Austin K9 with radio body on the back. This appears to be a very regular exhibit here down at the British Motor Museum. I do wonder if it actually lives here or belongs to maybe someone that works here, because I've seen this one here already this year. I've been down for the Old Ford Rally and the BMC Day, of course. The Old Ford Rally also included a huge Roots Group Day as well, which was parked over in the far car park. So those videos, if they're not out already, will be here on the Old Classic Car channel before too long. But yeah, this is the Austin K9. Four-wheel drive. The cab is that, or basically that, of the Austin Lodestar, the civilian Austin Lodestar lorry. Got these wheel arch extensions here just to accommodate the much chunkier running gear of the four-wheel drive K9. These were used extensively by the British Army. What a great old girl that is. Slightly green looking Rover 114 GSI. Very similar to how our Jag looked up until just about 4 months ago, something like that. That was covered in moss like this, and it was actually very therapeutic to clean that off with a little toothbrush and a sponge, and it transformed the look of it. And I'm sure this little Rover 100 will get the same treatment on the transporter behind. Another slightly faded gem, an old Audi Quattro, Audi 80. Is it the 80 or the 90? I can never tell the difference. Can't see, but anyway. And the Rover, I think that's a 220 turbo, the Tomcat, the coupe version. Becoming pretty rare now. Let's have a look in here. If you've owned any of the cars that feature in this video, please pop a note in the comments and say hello. It's always interesting to read your thoughts and experiences of the cars that feature in the videos here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please think about subscribing to the channel, because there are stacks of videos just like this across the channel now. Alright, every day is a school day. This is a Peugeot Hogger Escapade edition. So I have no idea what that is. I'm assuming it's a personal import, because I've never seen one of these before. But that's what's good about coming to some of these bigger shows. You get to see things that you've never clapped eyes on before, even when they're fairly new. Now this has got an American plate or tag in the window, so I'm guessing that'll give us a bit of a clue. Oh, it's Sao Paulo, so it's in from Brazil. There we go. Like I say, every day is a school day. We head over to the next row, next to the VW. We have this Ford Transit-based camper, a CI Travel Home. Well, that's a survivor, isn't it? On a V plate, so about, what, 1979. Still appears to have the first tax disc in the window. 31st of the 12th, 1980. Private Ford. 12 months, road tax, £50. Those were the days. Yeah, CI, is that Caravans International? They produce caravans as well as these campers. A 3 Series, a 4-door E36 alongside a classic Range Rover here, about 1984. Really good condition. Look at the huge amount of glass on these older 4x4s. That's one of the features of older cars in general. You can really see out of them properly. And yeah, you can't say that for every car around now. Next to that we have on an M plate an Audi here, the Audi 82 litre E in immaculate condition. Again, you used to see these everywhere at one time. You didn't bat an eyelid when one of these went past, but now you would certainly have another look. This one with a dealer plate for Premier Garage of Leek, which isn't a million miles away from where we're based, over in Staffordshire. That's in lovely condition, that. Got a somewhat modified Jaguar, an X-Type. A Riley 1.5. Now, we often see one of these at the shows that we go to, and it's quite a rare car because it's got the sliding steel sunroof. This one is identical colour, but this one does not have the sunroof in it. Most of them didn't, to be honest, but look at the beautiful chrome and paint on that. So you've got the 1489 B-Series engine in there with the twin carbs. Very similar looking to the Wolseley 1500. They had single carbs. This is one of the slightly facelifted, slightly later cars which employed the Austin A40 Farina backlights. That's in beautiful condition. I remember Dad had one of these. Mum and Dad went on their honeymoon in one of these. Maroon example it was.
I gave it to somebody because the MOT was running.
Yeah, it's a real beauty, that is.
Well,
Carry on down here. Like I say, a bit of everything here today. We've got a Saab Turbo 900 Turbo. Looks like it's got the airflow kit on it, the slightly different bumpers and side skirts. Just have a look around the back. These, it was a Carlson. It's got these extra things over the rear vents. This was like an optional thing. Bigger rear wing on the Carlson edition. So named after Eric Carlson, a very famous Swedish rally driver who for so many years campaigned the little Saabs, the bullnoses, two-strokes, and later the V4s. This one's got a rear wiper on it, which not all 900s did. So this would be the 16 valve, usually about 175 brake horsepower, but these may be a little more, about 185 possibly. Volvo alongside that, looks like an S70 I think. A little Renault Megane, a Focus Mark 1, people are collecting those quite a lot now. Another Audi over here, the Audi 100. We've got an Audi Quattro, four-wheel drive for the masses, and the Audi A2. Definitely a future classic, these, I think. Very neat looking little design. Okay, past the G-Wagon. Just keep going, keep looking at all the cars and slowing down for some of the older ones. Look at this Citroën Diane, a Citroën of many, many colours. The proud Welsh flag there. Clearly it gets around a bit, this one. The Normandy and Brittany Raid. Oh, fantastic. Next to the Diane, a super little Mini on slightly earlier wheels. They're the Cooper wheels, the little drilled wheels. This is a bit later than that. On an A plate, so early 1980s. Presumably that's the original supplying dealer. Sticker in the back window there. Austin, Rover, Triumph, Hawley Limited, Auto Services of Hawley. Oh. Great little Min. An Astra Merit alongside that. An immaculate three-door. That's the Mark III Astra. I was followed by a Mark II Astra on the journey down here earlier on, so I figured that'll probably be here somewhere. In fact, I was looking out for slightly aged cars as I was driving along, and I did see quite a few. I followed an Alfa Spider down the motorway. Like I said, there was a Mark II Vauxhall Astra followed me for a little while. I was in convoy with a 2002 Audi A4 Estate for quite a long time as well. Here is the Alfa 164. Now this is another car from the Type 4 collaboration that I was talking about before when we were looking at Lancia Thema. So again, same centre section but different tail, different front, different running gear, but the structure underneath was shared between the four manufacturers. They all wanted to produce a large saloon, so they decided to collaborate and they came up with the Type 4. The Saab was probably the most prolific. I think it's probably Saabs that you see most often now preserved. The Saab 9000s, either the hatchbacks or the later saloon, the booted versions. Yeah, the Alpha 164. Some of these had the lovely V6, the Busso V6 in them. Yeah, and this has got the 3 litre V6 in it. So they sound lovely, and they also look fantastic when you see the bonnets up on cars like this. Beautiful looking engines they are. And over here, another Citroen Diane. Another well-used Diane. Looks very, very original, that one. Yeah. I think these were originally conceived to be a replacement for the 2CV, but that never really happened, and that front end panel work was shared with the Citroen Acadian van, the Fourgonette. Yeah, I do like these. It's a really cool little car, this. Slidey door windows. Wow. Oh, that's great, isn't it? And again, very well travelled. Great little Rover 100 Kensington edition alongside that, in immaculate condition. How do these cars survive? I've always maintained that most cars, if they get to 30-40 years old, at some point have probably been in the hands of a hoarder or someone who was very, very sentimental about their car. Because most logical thinking people would just get rid of an old car, but fortunately many people don't. Squirrel them away, perhaps even if they're not using them, just push them in the garage, and that means that one day in the future someone can dig it out and put it back on the road. And here we have a great Sunbeam Talbot Lotus. These were very popular in rallying back in the day, as they say, and going back much, much older in time, we have a 1934 Standard 10. We do like a classic standard. Pre-war cars rock, as far as I'm concerned. I wasn't sure if we were going to see any here today, but mercifully it's great to see this one. Look at this, it's still got the old decal, the sticker in the window for the 10-year test that was introduced in the early 60s, about 1962 I think it was. My old Morris mine, my pre-war mine, I had one of those in the window. That's what later became the MOT test. And when the 10-year test was introduced in the early 60s, it saw many of these older cars being pensioned off and pushed or towed to the breaker's yard, because many of the cars that were put on the road after the Second World War and run throughout the 50s, they were just run on a real shoestring. And when sort of roadworthiness tests came in, even though they were fairly basic at the time, many cars just didn't stand a chance, so they all got scrapped. So that's what makes pre-war cars so unusual now. And alongside that, we have the Citroen, the Traction Avant, front-wheel drive Citroen Light 15. Well, I think technically, I did read someone saying that technically they're not 15s, they are actually 11s, but you know, I'm willing to be corrected on that. Let me know in the comments which this is, but I've always known these as Light 15s, so we'll stick with that for now. Yeah, great, very advanced cars these are. The bonnet's up on this one, so let's have a quick nosy under the bonnet. It's a non-factory bonnet prop on this one. Super little car. This one, Citroen 12 from 1936. So again, pre-war car. And we certainly like a bit of that here on the old classic car channel. Two fantastic survivors of the 1930s.
You might think it
Quite a few of the cars around here will be familiar to anyone who trolls YouTube all the time. Great little rare Proton over here. This is the iDriver Classic Proton. Alongside that, quite a chunky looking Defender on C plates, so about 1985 those. That one over there. Got Morris Marina here, the Marina 2s I think this is. In russet brown here. The MG 1100, a four-door MG 1100. So this has got the transverse engine, the twin carburetors. And I remember Dad having one of these in the early 70s, and the grille of it still survives, as does the 12G206 cylinder head off it, which I did run for a time on the A40, and the plan with the A40 is to put that cylinder head on it once it is all sorted out and back on the road. Yeah, the grille of Dad's old car is hanging up in the youthful ones, the youthful assistants. I think it's in Ned the shed. Of course, he's got two sheds full of old memorabilia. But yeah, the grille of Dad's old MG survives, even though the rest of it fell to pieces. 50 odd years ago, subframes, sills, wings, they used to rot like crazy. These cars, the AD016s, were the best selling car I think for 8 separate years throughout the 1960s. They made millions of them in all the different forms, but they didn't last very long at all. It's such a shame because they actually were great driving cars. Just a few years ago, Dad had an immaculate VDP, the Princess 1300. It was an automatic, so the single carburettor car, and that went really, really well. It's just like a big mini. We've got a Saab Cabriolet there, the ZTT, MGB-GT on the rubber bumpers, Morris Traveller here. Someone's testing the PA, yes it works. And we've got a Skoda Favorit here, the Favorit Forum, limited edition no less. Wow, it's rare to see one of these now. And it's great that these obscure sort of modern classics, I suppose you'd call them, retro cars, young timers, it's great that some of these have fallen into enthusiastic hands, so I'm all for that. That's just a lovely, lovely example, that is, and very rare. I've never seen one of those before either. Okie dokie, let's carry on the road. We've got the big Volvo and the Jaguar X-Type. Second one of those, a very neat little Suzuki tipper truck here. Wow, that's incredible. Very handy little vehicle, forward control. Got a Vauxhall Monaro here, 2006, and a Trabant, the 2-stroke Trabant. Wowzers. These are incredible. Of course, when you saw all the famous footage of the Berlin Wall coming down and all those little smoky Trabants pouring over into what was West Germany. That's incredible. Bonkers looking things. These are made out of Duraplast over at the factory at Zwickau in East Germany. I remember I've rescued 2 of these going back quite a few years. A saloon just like this, and also the Combi, the estate car as well. Very late examples of these had I think they had the regular VW Polo engine fitted and a slightly different grille, but this is one of the 2-stroke cars. And yeah, it's made out of some sort of compressed material. I think there's cotton in it, if I remember right, but I could be wrong. Yeah, great to see that little Trabant 601S, a car of the people in East Germany, if you could afford it. And as long as the Stasi approved. Right, let's carry on over here. A little Seat here, Ford Fiesta. And a City Rover. This was pretty much the last gasp of the Rover brand, I think. Weren't these Indian? Wasn't it an Indian design or Indian built? Can't really remember. Let's have a look at the info. So this is a Mark II apparently. Let's carry on down here past the Fiat. Busy show. Little 4-door Morris there with indicator units off, I think, Austin 1100. We've got some free books. I'll have a look at those later. Let's carry on down here. Little Peugeot 106. If you're here with your car and I miss it out, I apologise for that. I'll try and show as many cars as possible. A little Suzuki Wagon-R. It's a really neat design that I do think they've got a lot of merit indeed. A Deo and a funky little 4x4 Mitsubishi here on the end. Okay, we're at the next row. Apparently this is a Pulsar EXA again, so it's a Nissan. It looks very comfy in there actually. I'm assuming this is an import. Yeah, pretty wild looking wedgie car of the 1980s. Another proper rarity scene here at Rustival. Got a Ford Capri, one of the 3.1s I think. A little Nissan Cube. Peugeot 106 Fiesta. I remember buying one of those for £80 off a neighbour at the place we used to live at before we moved. Yeah, £80 it was. It wasn't in bad nick on the road. Slightly rusty doors on it for some reason, but otherwise it was quite cool. Good little run around. Jaguar XKR here, one of the X100s. The original Mercedes A-Class. I remember considering one of those many years ago. I did read quite a few horror stories. I think it was around, was it the steering columns could be problematic on these, so that kind of put me off. Mini big, mini size. This one 1985, and immaculate, presumably restored. I mean, you can buy complete new body shells for minis, so anything can be retrieved. This is a 1985 Mini City E. Ooh, it's a 1980s Mini that hasn't had any panels replaced. Wow. Blimey, so it's been repainted, but all the original panels, well, you can't say that about most minis that you see at these shows, but that's a real little Bobby Dazzler. What a belter that is. And here the famous Maxi. These came out in the late 60s, hatchback. Early ones had some sort of cable gear change thing, which I don't think was totally reliable, and they swiftly changed that to a more regular linkage. Had a Vauxhall there. And I saw one of these recently, and I've forgotten what it is. We've got a Mark I Cavalier, two-door Cavalier here. That's a real belter as well. These must be so hard to restore. A poor one of these now would be, I mean, I don't know what the panel situation's like, you know, but I can imagine they're very hard to replace. Same for the interior. You won't want to buy a rough one of these and try and restore it, because, you know, I doubt very much there is a huge spares backup, other than mechanical bits perhaps. But to find body panels and trim for something like this must be really tricky indeed. Look, we've got a Twingo here. Oof. I know someone who likes those. Still lots of them in regular use over in France. If you haven't seen our French videos yet, please check those out. Right, let's carry on down here. Keep looking for some oldies, and we seem to have a contingent of Morris Minors. So we're going to admire those. This one looks like a very well used Welsh registered example. Got a 65 four-door here. Now, where did I see this one? I've seen this one somewhere else this year, but I forget where it was. Where did I see that? I know I've seen it somewhere. Let's carry on down here. Morris's, Renault, the MGTF. So that was sort of like a facelifted revised version of the MGF. Got the Rover 75 here. The MG version there. The Mark I version of the Toyota MR2, little mid-engine car, and there's the Mark II alongside it. Big Audi here. Let's keep going down here. And two more cars on the end here, which will be familiar to Hubnut followers here on YouTube. Okie dokie, let's carry on down the next row past the little Smart. What's this box turtle number? Oh, the Perodua, the Canary. Yes, I think we've seen this one online somewhere as well. This looks familiar. I'm sure I was watching about a cam belt change on that one just the other day. Right, let's carry on here past the little Corsa, the Fiat Panda. Ooh, a nice old map in the window. We like a bit of that. Very cool little cars. These are, again, small cars are where it's at, I think, a lot of the time. And they've got a lovely Porsche 928, the S4, with a different back end and different front end compared to the first ones. Car of the year in the late 70s. A Land Rover Freelander. Just a Crown Vic. Ooh. Here we go, Rover 100, the 6-cylinder version of the Rover P4. This one looks super original. I love how the paint has just been polished through. Years of polishing reveals the undercoat under the black overcoat. That's just lovely patina. You just can't, well, you can fake it, but it never looks quite right. Yeah, very, very nice. I think I've seen this one online somewhere as well. Window is open so we can have a quick peer inside. I've got a feeling the people who run this channel, I've spoken to Harley about standard 8s and 10s before now, but I could be wrong. There's that lovely engine. What a cracker that is. Right, let's carry on down here. Rover 75 with rusty bonnet. Little Nova there, one of the facelifted Vauxhall Novas, a booted Megane, I think. A little Micra there. Peugeot 406. Mark 1 MX5. Another one, that's the second one of those we've seen today. I had wondered about coming down in hours, but I thought it's a good opportunity to give the Jaguar a bit of exercise down the motorway because that's what it needs. And here, an E12 version of the BMW 5 Series. This is quite a rare sight now. It's a 520, so it's got the 2 litre straight six. So this was the predecessor to the E28. Got those brochures back at home. Dad got those back in the 1970s and passed them over many years ago. What a great car, what an unusual colour as well. Next to the Beamer we've got this lovely Alfa GTV. Is it a 1750 or is it a 2 litre? It could be a 2000. Let's have a look on the back. That's cheater. It's a 1750 with an extra Lucas lamp on the back there. Lovely shape to these 105 series cars, just beautiful. It's got some little stopwatches on the dash and the trip meter, so clearly this one is used for some regularity rallies. What better way to do it than behind the wheel of a beautiful little Alfa like that. Right, MX-5 Mark III, and look at this rear engine Skoda. What a treat to see that here. That is just such an unusual sight now. Skodas were always really popular. I always remember them watching the rallying on the TV when it used to be on the BBC Two, and they always used to win their class, the little rear engine Skodas, the slightly later ones than this perhaps, but yeah, Skoda was a very, very characterful company. They kind of did their own thing. Of course now they've been swallowed up into the Volkswagen Audi group. And for so many years they were very, very distinctive. Vents on the back wing, not unlike the arrangement on our 4CV back at base. Left-hand drive. It looks so original, that original paint, just perfect. Look at this, the old 2-stroke Wartburg. Good heavens above. A Wartburg Knight 353 from 1984. 992cc 3-cylinder 2-stroke. Flying the flag for 2 strokes. Excellent stuff. Right, let's carry on down here. You can see a little bit of auto jumble. So let's have a mooch down here, a little Matiz. I think I've seen this one before somewhere. A mighty Vauxhall there. Let's just keep going a little bit. Past the SLK. We've got a Marina Super. Nice early one, the early style front on it. So Super was one of the posher ones with these jazzy wheel covers and the things around the wheel arch there. Little 3 Series here. So that's the E23, which was the predecessor to the E30, which is the one you more often see, but this is the older one, the E23. Now, single headlights, I think, used to signify it was like the 316, and the 320s upwards had twin lights per side, but, you know, I could be wrong. It's a great shade of brown as well, I like that. Yeah, 316, as originally supplied by Ian Anthony. Well-known purveyor of German motor cars. It's got some lovely wheels on it as well. They've been retrofitted, possibly originally fitted to maybe a 323i, the 6-cylinder car. Yeah, it's another great rarity here today at Gaydon. Okay, we'll just finish off this row. We've got a little black Mini here. A Nissan Figaro, those are based on the Micra. A little Smart there. And Brabus. A Brabus tuned smart car. Little Fiesta, Mazda. So what's this then? 626. 626 2-litre 16 valve GTI with 4-wheel steering. Wow. I don't even remember those when they were, well, when that was new. I don't remember those. The 4-wheel steering version. Preludes, yes, but I don't think I've ever seen one of those before. And this I passed on the motorway coming down here just a little while earlier this morning. Right, next row we have a Series 3, quite an early Series 3 Landy, the 911 there. Right, let's carry on up here. This is a rarity, the Daewoo Espero. Let's nip along here. Ooh, what's this? The Wolseley 680. Wow. So this is the 6-cylinder Wolseley. Now this was the MO. This was the Oxford MO body shell, and then they put the 6-cylinder engine in it, a proud, lofty Wolseley grille on it, and produced this, the 680, which the Metropolitan Police were big fans of these back in the early 1950s. There's the proud grille there, the illuminated badge in the centre, but yes, from the scuttle back, that is Morris Oxford MO. Very different dashboards and interiors. Police versions had lots of extra clocks in them as well. I did see one of those recently at an event I went to. That's the Inglenook Farm, the classics meeting that they have there several times a year. There was a lovely one of these on display. This one looks like it's been modified a little bit, slightly bigger wheels. All good fun. And we have, there's a Wasp, good heavens, an LDV. These are sort of an evolution, I guess, of the old Leyland Sherpa. A little bit mossy, this one. Looks like it's spent a fair bit of time under a tree, I suspect. Right, let's carry on down here. Let's keep going. Good heavens, a Honda Accord Estate, same colour as ours. Good Lord, I wasn't expecting to see one of those here. Right, let's carry on. Some BMC goodies here, we like a bit of that. And a super little Mini. Wow. Let's keep going. The ZTT there, the Volvo 700 series. A big estate, great cars. As I've mentioned before, when we were moving house to where we are now, 20 odd years ago, we bought a 760 GLE estate purely to help us with the move. £125 and a slipping automatic gearbox. The slippy gearbox, that was cured by just adding a bit of fluid to the gearbox, and it worked fine after that. Big V6 in that one, so we ran that one for a few months just during the move because we had a bit of time to do the move, and we sold it on again for £100, still with quite a long MOT on it. Right, we've got a Mark 1 Mondeo here, another great little Fiesta here. The Sirocco, big Audi Avant estate. Aerodynamics was all the rage. The CD figures were always being quoted on these. This one from 1990. Mazda RX-8, rotary engine cars. Many of them have had replacement engines in by now. They had a great thirst for oil, as I remember. And one of the BRM editions of the Little Rover. Okie dokie, right, let's have a look at another pre-war gem here, the little Austin 7 box saloon. What a little cracker that is. We like that, 747cc, little 4-cylinder side valve engine. First produced all the way back in 1922, so 102 years ago the little Austin 7 came out. And in a slightly vague link to this car, we have a Mini, and the early ones of these were also badged as the Austin 7, as was the early E30. Right, let's carry along here past an E30, Mark II Fiesta XR2, and a Vectra. Bit of polishing going on the Mark 1 over here. Let's carry on down here past the Vauxhall Calibra and the Saab 95 V4 Estate in that fantastic shade of green that Saab had in the 1970s. And what a beauty this is. A nice roof rack. We like a bit of roof rack action. What a practical car that is. This, of course, they're all front wheel drive, V4 powered by this point in time. The Ford of Cologne V4. Look at the extra set of seats in the back there. What a versatile car that is. Bit of an odd looking car, I suppose, but very versatile, really quirky looking thing. And that, if you haven't seen the videos, the older videos on the channel, I did one about a bullnose Saab van that I rescued in about 1990 or 91, the only one left. Little bullnose two-stroke van. It had originally been built for the Danish post office, and Saab GB brought 3 of them in 1962, and this was the only one that was left. So that was the predecessor to the V4 that you see here. This is a fairly early V4 with the nice shiny bumpers on it, as opposed to the safety bumpers that the later ones had. Very cool indeed. Now, on the subject of Saab, we have this flat-fronted Saab Turbo, the 8-valve 900 Turbo. And these are quite rare, being the saloon, the booted saloon version, rather than the hatchbacks that you normally see. It's on the C-plates about 1985, and many years ago I had a 1985 900 Turbo. Mine was a 3-door hatch. This one's left-hand drive, so that's quite unusual. Again, these stripes down the side, so 1980s. These were like a dealer option, if I remember right. Yeah, you don't see many of the booted saloons anymore. I'm guessing that's where it came from. Yeah, really unusual car that is. The APC badge on the back. APC was automatic performance control, and the idea was that you could run any octane of fuel in it, and the computer, the brains within the car, would automatically adjust the timing to cope with any grade of fuel that you put into it. That's probably not a thing now. They're probably all like that now, but that was quite an advanced thing that Saab introduced way back in the early 1980s. Yeah, and it's good to see one of the flat-nosed cars as well, because more often than not you see the slopey-fronted cars, the slightly later 900s. Right, let's carry on down here, past the Volvo and the VW. The Volvo 240 Estate. What's that, 700 Estate. Let's keep going down here. Got another Vauxhall Monaro, very shiny red one. Interesting little Daihatsu Applause. With all those sort of oddball little cars that have all but vanished from the roads here in the UK. Just sneak through here and have a quick peer around the back. Lotus Exige. What's this? Toyota Wyndham. Ooh, special import job. Mini 1. Sneak through here. Okay, let's keep hunting the oldies down here. A gaggle of Mondeos. Let's keep going. I mean, to me that looks like a new car, but that's nearly 20 years old. Heavens. I must be getting old. Got an X300 over here. This one dark green. And a Merc on the end. Alright, some later cars here. Someone likes their stickers. Alpha there, is that the 155? Yeah, I remember these when they came in the early 1990s to Alton Park for the BTCC, Gabriele Tarquini and co. Right, and the BX over here. Another one here. The cars are parked a bit higgledy-piggledy over this side. Some are nose in, some are facing out. The Ford Puma. Those are quite nice little cars. Never going to see the likes of this again, are we? Little coupes. Large coupe. We'll have a proper look at that SM in a minute. Let's carry on down here. Just try and keep out of the way of someone who's filming. Don't want to get in their way. Right, there we go. And that Volvo 240. That's Colin, apparently. Got a Rover 45. Got a Daimler version of the XJ40. Of course, Gaydon is home to the Jaguar Daimler Heritage Trust, which their cars are in that shiny building just over the back there. So no doubt there are several examples of these dotted around. There is actually a Daimler Coupe prototype in the JDHT collection just over the way there. But this is the production Daimler version. So this was sort of a cut above trim-wise your regular Jaguar badge cars. And look at that, little picnic tables in the back. I'm not sure if you can see that through the window. But yeah, very swish indeed. Good ones, those are getting hard to find. Rust, of course, is the problem with these. I mean, most cars of the 80s suffer very similarly. You also have to check the scuttles as well. Pop the bonnet up and have a good look around the scuttle, because they can rot pretty badly down there, and it's quite tricky to repair it as well. Right, next to that we have a Bond bug. Good heavens. Wow. This one is a very well travelled Bond bug. I've just been chatting to an OCC follower, Daniel. Good say hello to him. He's here in the yellow MGB. Right, let's carry on down here. The Rover 800. This is the 5-door hatch. Got one of these little Huskies based on the, this is sort of Imp era Hillman Husky, with the engine under the back, the estate, and of course with the engine under there. They had quite a high roof line on these just to give you a usable load space, and it's actually quite a handy size, even allowing for the fact you've got quite a high rear floor in it. Oh, very neat. And look at this Humber. Wow. So the meeting I was at last weekend, there was an incredible and really incredible restored Humber Hawk that had the Rover 3.5 in it, and this looks pretty. It's got some meaty set of wheels on there, and this has got a V8 as well. Yeah, that's quite the engine, quite a big engine bay in these, so they do take quite kindly to having a big V8 dropped in them. I've seen quite a few of these big old Humbers now with V8 shoehorned into them. Right, there's a funny little Skoda base car there. I'm not quite sure what we're looking at, but there we go. Right, and yeah, we've got the arena over there. So let's carry on round here, see what we can spot. Little Citroen Berlingo, quite a handy car. Squeeze down here.
The wings are getting a bit.
Another little Daihatsu, I think.
I'd like to ask to the stage, Ben.
Alright, a bit more chatting going on the stage, so we'll head this way. Got an immaculate Ford Escort Mark 1 estate. Slightly wider steelies, but other than that, looks pretty original. Seat out of something American, I would suspect. Oh, what a clean looking car that is. Great little car, great colour as well, I do like that. Right, little Fiat Cinquecento, Mini, little Hyundai, little Accent. So this one looks super original. A lot of patina here. And the Accent Coupe SI. A few goodies in the back window as well. We like a bit of memorabilia. Yeah, jolly good. A little 205 van. Good heavens above. That's a clean little fella. Puddle Farm. We have a pair of Renault Twingos over here. This one is called Pepe from 1995. Great little cars. Seat there. 124 Mercedes Cabriolet. The Triumph Dolomite. A very unusual little Lancia. And here the Citroen SM. What an incredible car these are. So 2.7 Maserati V6 engine nestled under this gargantuan bonnet. but there is a lot going on under there. The engine only comes to about here. It's quite well set back, the engine, really far back, and then everything else is just all the gubbins, a lot of it to do with the suspension, the head of the engine. Yeah, what a crazy shape. Super looking cars. Got the hydropneumatic suspension, a bit like the DS and the CX. That's why it's down on the floor. Yeah, what an incredible car. The detailing is just lovely. These beautiful framed windows, the vents, the way the bonnet comes around, so it sort of sculptures the air over the wiper spindles. So that's lovely, that is. We've got a Citroen C15 based camper. Front end styling very similar to that of the Visa, of course. A little Alfa Romeo coupe here, the V6 engine on display. So this is the same engine as is fitted to that 164 saloon that we were looking at before. And like I say, aesthetically as well as orally, these are fantastic units. The Busso V6. Got a little Metro, or is it a Rover 100? Driving school car. Yeah, it's the 114 SLI and a 2200 SC Rover P6 over here. This one hasn't got the optional spare wheel mounting in the middle of the boot lid. I often wonder how heavy the boot must be to open if you've got your big spare wheel, your big steel spare wheel perched on the back there. So this has got the 2.2 litre 4-cylinder engine. Very similar looking to the V8s. This is one of the facelifted cars with a plastic front grille. The early ones had like a shiny tin grille on them. Let's keep going down here. Jaguar XF. What's this mighty machine here? Off the cheat. Let's have a quick look around the back, get some clues. So it's the Honda Accord Aero deck. So that's coming back to me now. Again, a model that has all but vanished. MR2 Mark II. Oh, Peugeot, and here the MGF. Okay, and over here we have the NSU R080, the Wankel engined NSU R080. Many of these were re-engined back in the day because they were a bit prone to having sort of reliability issues, especially with that engine. The story goes that drivers of these, if they saw another one coming the other way, they would hold up a number of fingers to represent the number of engines they'd had changed, because they weren't the most reliable of engines. Bit of a shame. Of course, Mazda stuck with rotary engines for many, many, many years, but it was the undoing of NSU. I think that's what sent them under in the end. Okay, an E30 Cabriolet, another Citroen BX. This is a Meteor limited edition Citroen BX. And over here, wow, look at that. Is that the Talbot Alpine? The front looks very similar to the Solara, but that was the saloon. I'm pretty sure this is an Alpine. Yeah, the Alpine LS Talbot 5-speed Series 2 Alpine LS. Melvin's, not the owner but the supplying dealer. I bought some Melvins and saved the difference. That's great, that is. Wow. Wonder how many of these are left on the road. Must be single figures now, surely. Over here is a bit of Roots Group history in the shape of the Hillman Californian. This is like the fastback Imp, about 1967 or 68. Still with the engine in the back, just like the regular Imps. No opening rear window on these. Just a fixed rear window. Got a little vents there, just neatly put into the back panel. Lots of goodies on the dash there with like a bit of book action. Some nice old books to fit in with the overall look of this car of the late 1960s. Great colour as well. Very neat little car. And then here we have a Montego Saloon. Okay, I'll carry on here past another Montego, late 75. Heavens, right. Incredible four-wheel drive VW there. Seat Ibiza, little Jaguar designed Seat Ibiza. God, it's a few years since I last saw one of these. Cooper S, that's Fiat Multipla, pretty bonkers looking car that. MR2. Oh, here we have a little Vanden Plas, a little Princess 1300. Like I say, Dad's was maroon. This one looks very original paint on it. We like a bit of that. Ford Ka. Another Berlingo here. Little Datsun Cherry.
So, Kev, when you get a car, what's the first thing you do to assess it? And have you ever had
The Skoda just over here on the end. Looks like a very well travelled Skoda as well. There's a funky little car based, I think, on Citroen running gear.
But like I say, anything free to still bring
That's very neat indeed. Right, let's carry on down here and see what older gems we can find. Bit of everything here. Look at that gorgeous PA. We'll have a look at that one after. I have a Talbot camper here. There's a few clouds in the sky. I'll have to get a bit of a wriggle on. Don't want to get damp. They don't say there's any rain today, but you never really know. The Toyota Sprinter Carib Z Touring Aerosport. Right. Oh, the Ital Estate. Vision in brown. Very practical car now. So this was BL's rival, I suppose, to the Cortina, I guess. So this was a facelifted Morris Marina. This one with the 1.7 engine, the HLS. It's got some fairly plush seating in there. Got a DAF with the CVT transmission, with a little Daewoo, and an incredible VW here with every accessory and option under the sun, including an opening screen. I don't think I've ever seen a VW with an opening windscreen before, so that really is something. What an incredible VW this is. Just been having a word with another OCC follower. Yeah, what a bit of everything in here. It's got those little clip-on car trays in the box in the middle there. We like a bit of that. Look at this sort of, it's not a roof rack and it's not a boot rack, it's sort of a rear, well, it's like a rear roof rack, isn't it, with a great little case on there as well. And an immaculate engine tucked away there. Yeah. Another Firestone car cooler. Ooh. We like a bit of that. But yeah, opening windscreen. Who came up with that idea? Was that some sort of accessory that you could buy for these back in the 1960s? Answers on a postcard, please. I'd be interested to know what the story is. Is this just a one-off that's been done to this car, or was this a conversion that you can actually buy? And look at that bug deflector as well. What a beautifully turned out car that is. That really is something else. Okie dokie. Let's have a look. We've got a lovely Mini here, retrofied slightly. It's got the old Morris Cooper S badge on the bonnet and the bonnet stripes. Lovely, lovely little car. Same for this Morris here. Let's have a look in there. Very, very clean car, that one. And look at this little Toyota estate. Wow. Where's that been? And how has that survived? What a fantastic old survivor that is. Completely original, even down to the proper dealer spec mud flaps. Yeah, that really is something. I imagine spares for these are high up on the unobtainium level. Oh, what an incredible survivor that is. Now we've got a bit of info in the screen, so let's have a look. Toyota 1000 Estate. So a quick look at this. Pause the video if you want to read the blurb. Wow, 1977. One of only 3 known surviving cars distributed and sold new by Toyota GB. Wow, isn't that amazing? Super little Morris, one of my favourite colours as well, that sort of grey-blue colour that they did them in. That's a lovely one, late 50s, beginning of the 1960s. Yeah, really, really tasty little car that. Okay, let's zip along here because I see another slice of wonderful front-wheel drive Citroen. This time in a very fetching colour of maroon, a very fetching shade of maroon in fact. Wow, I love how the gear lever pokes through the dash. Painted dash, all very stylish, all very sort of simple and utilitarian, but lovely details on French cars like this. These little marker lights on the rear corner there, and little parking lights as well, just up here at the top of the B pillar. Look at the back lights as well. Lovely car, really, really tasty. 1955 traction oval, imported in 1989.
That's how they built the cars originally.
Okay, we've got 3 Series there, the 124 Mercedes E-Class, another big Volvo there, 940, and over here a Renault Clio. And because we can, let's just have another look at this fantastic NSU 080. Okay, over here we have an XJR, the V8 powered XJR. So that's the 4-litre supercharged version of our car basically. A bit more poke. I used to have a dark blue one of those many years ago. It's for sale. So what's the damage on that? No price mentioned. Supplied by TWR Jaguar. That was their Emporium, established by Tom Walkinshaw, TWR, Tom Walkinshaw Racing. He raced things like the XJS cars in the 1980s, the very famous green and white coloured cars, the V12s. All the V8 XJRs had the auto box with the famous Jaguar J-gate, as you can see in the middle over there. The car before this, the 6-cylinder cars, the X300s, they also did a supercharged version of those. And a very small number of the 6-cylinder cars were manual gearbox cars, but the V8s, they all had the autos. Right, let's go along here, another rarity, somewhat older. 1984 Vauxhall Cavalier Saloon, a 4-door saloon. Yeah. I remember for a while Dad bought one of these. He had an estate one of these in a very, very pale green. I think it was a company car that was being sold off cheap, so he bought that and ran it for a little while, and then he sold it on. But that's my only real experience of these Cavaliers, but it's great to see this one here today. Oh, now we like a bit of this kind of thing, a PA Cresta, the 6-cylinder Vauxhall Cresta. What an incredible looking car that is. Such incredible American inspired styling on these cars. This is a fairly early one because it's got the 3-piece rear window arrangement. So you got this, and then the other little one around the corner. So this is fairly early. Later they went to a 1-piece screen. But yeah, look at that. Wow. This really is an era of car that really grabs my attention, I must confess. I do like cars of the 1950s especially. Just crazy looking cars, just like nothing else on the road really. even Ford with the Zephyrs and the Zodiacs, they didn't look quite as bonkers as this. And I've never really noticed this moulding running down the roof before. I've never seen that before. Got lashings of chrome, really extravagant styling, those huge rear lights, just incredible.
Sometimes tells you what you're wearing.
Isn't that just a beauty? And always pretty wild colour schemes on these cars, two-tone. Yeah, amazing. Next to that Cresta we have a fairly early Triumph Herald Coupe. This is the second version of the Herald Coupe with the sort of quite a rakish looking roof. The early ones had a flat panel here, they were flat, and then they went to these later ribbed roof cars. So yeah, lovely. This is a 1200, the early ones were 948. So this has got the ribbed roof on it. Still badged as Herald, which is a feature of the fairly early Heralds, but the ones before this also had like a little pull-up handle in the middle of the bonnet which you could grab, but presumably they deleted that maybe for cost purposes, something like that. But this is a super clean car, and these Herald Coupes are properly rare. You've got the little Britax lamps and seatbelts in there, and an old copy of the Daily Mirror, Kennedy assassinated. Wow, proper old Pi radio in there as well. So styled by Michelotti over in Italy. Separate chassis, of course, unlike the standard Pennant which came before. And here we have a Yugo Sana, the lesser spotted Yugo Sana, which you hardly ever see anywhere. Usually at the NEC you might see one of these, the big classic car show which is coming up in November. We've got a Volvo ambulance here based on the Volvo V90. So some real oddball cars here today. Fiesta S based on the Mark 1. Very neat little hatchbacks. Super minivan. A Volvo. Good heavens, what's that? Hearse. The Twingo next to the 240 GLT, and another Yugo Sana. What's going on? Two in the same location. Okay, we have a Sirocco there. Let's just carry on along here, keep an eye out for the oldies. Laguna E-Type Series 2 Roadster. It's got the 4.2 straight six in it.
Sorry, I'm getting this. Oh, here we are. Yes, living with a classic.
Bigger lights front and rear compared to the Series 1. Right.
And a round of applause.
Here's a stunning little four-door Morris 1000. Isn't that a little beauty that is?
I'll start with you, Adam.
That is just a beautiful car. 1961. Another wonderful PA Cresta over here. Different colour scheme again. A pretty wild two-tone paint job. Big Volvo V70 on the end here. But no, this is more my cup of tea. What a cracking looking car. And this one doesn't have that moulding, but you can see it's got the later rear window assembly which I was talking about, where they went to the one-piece wraparound screen. So that's when they got rid of that sort of, I don't know if it's a swaged moulding that was down the roof of that slightly earlier car just further down the way. But that is, yeah, what great looking cars those are. I wonder if we'll see any F-types here today. This old Morris FG in the livery of Holland County Fire Brigade. It appears to be pretty much rooted to the spot. This is always parked here whenever I've been down here to Gaydon. Does it ever move? Does it ever go undercover? Who knows? The old wooden ramps, ladders rather, on the roof. Yeah, it's pretty faded. It's clearly been restored at some point in time. Dates back, it's in 1965, and a very appropriate 999 number plate on there. So it was restored many years ago. Yep, the Morris FG with the so-called Thrupney bit cab, which we do see examples of from time to time. Seen them here at the commercial vehicle show that takes place here at Gaydon. Very small door, so you wouldn't want to be too broad in the beam if you're clambering in and out of there. There's the engine in the middle. At the risk of repeating myself, I used to sit behind the wheel of one of these, playing in it as a kid. There was an abandoned, I think it was a flatbed version of an FG, all broken glass. Someone had smashed all the glass, including these very distinctive curvy corner panels of the cab here. But that didn't stop me. I used to cycle over and just sit behind the wheel and imagine myself being the driver of one of these old lorries. And maybe that explains my liking for old commercial vehicles now. It'd be nice if this one got a bit of polish sometime, or at least an oily rag. But it's still here, that's the main thing. Okay, we're climbing up towards the other car parks now, and they look pretty rammed as well. So if I'm going to get around those, I'm going to have to sort of get a bit of a wriggle on. So, I've got a little car there, the open top one. Is that the street car? The MX-5, the Morris, a little Morris 1100, another ADO 16. We'll just have a leisurely amble along here and just admire all the cars. Cavalier, later Vectra, of course. If I'd been really organised, I should have booked the Jag in and I could have parked it over here, but maybe on a future occasion, who knows. Very original looking 205 here, the Style Limited Edition. 205 CTI, the Pininfarina version, the open top version of the Peugeot 205. Chrome bumper car here. Is this a C? It is. It's the MGC GT. Aluminium bonnet and the BMC straight six engine under it. Very smooth, powerful car. Quite nose heavy, which I think that is something that when they brought the 3.5 Rover V8 powered car, they did improve the handling a bit because the V8 engine was a fair bit lighter than the old BMC 6-cylinder car engine. Got a CF2 Bedford there. Let's carry on down here. Somewhat modified MGB with a Mazda twin cam engine. Looks suspiciously MX-5 like. Yeah. All looks pretty familiar. If you've been following the channel for a little while, you may have seen a video I did where I had to take all that front end off because the cam belt snapped after just a few thousand miles, which was exciting, but fortunately those engines are non-interference, so there's no lasting damage. Right. Yeah, some of the cars are pointing this way and some are pointing inwards, so let's go around here. Let's see what we can see down here. The Astra SR. I'm on the lookout for the Audi that I followed for quite a few miles this morning back nearer home. A 2002 A4 Estate. Got a feeling that may have been coming here. It's just the kind of car you'd expect to see here. The Volvo S40, Mrs. OCC used to run a blue one of those. Another 700 there. And a V70 Mark II over here. We used to have one of these. Had a terrible turning circle, as I remember. Right. Another V4 Saab here. This is the 96. We saw the 95 Estate already. And this is the 96. Incredible looking car. Very wind cheating design. Saab are very big on aerodynamics. Of course there was the Saab aircraft division as well, which may explain that. And another classic Swede, and identical to a car I had quite a few years ago now. I had a restored 122S in this very, very dark green colour. Same year as this one on a G, same colour interior, same steering wheel. It's got one of the latest steering wheels on it. Now there's no badging on it. Is this a 121, a single carb, or is it the 122S with the twin carb? Most of these I think are the B18 engines with the 1800cc unit. Really good solid cars. The four doors have galvanised sills. The two doors, they're galvanised The sill is galvanised to this seam, so that bit is galvanised from new at the factory. This bit is part of the rear wing and isn't galvanised, so always have a close look down there if you're planning on buying one of these. Also the front inner wing box sections are quite prone to rusting. I had to have those done on both of the Amazons I ran. We've got a Maxi over here with roof rack, so we like that. Got a Land Rover lightweight over here. LDV with Volvo grille on it. Another little Fiat Panda. Another one over here.
I'm not going to bother with another one because you normally find
carry on amble along the rows of cars. I mean, the cars go right off into the distance. It's a really well supported event, this Rustival, and how original does this look in that lovely shade of pale green, which I don't think they did for very long. This is sort of late 50s, early 60s colour, I think. That looks very original, even down to the original Bloomel's number plates. And as you probably know, I'm a big fan of correct number plates. Okie dokie, Peugeot 405 Estate next to the Capri over there. Look at this monster, the monster Lincoln, the Continental. And this is huge. Look at the size of the doors, the length of the doors. Those A-pillars must be seriously strong to be able to hang such huge doors off them. Complete with an 8-track cartridge player in the dash. Simon and Garfunkel cartridge installed in it. Wow, what a beast. Next to that, a little 100E Prefect, the 4-door 100E. Oh, this one's for sale. This is, well, let's have a look. It's not got the side valve engine in it. They did do the 107E, which was like the Anglia engine. But this one looks like it's been re-engined, because I think most of the 107Es had like an extra little dogleg on the front wing coming down there. Yeah, I'm sure the installation of that overhead valve engine makes for a very usable car indeed. Great stuff. Another Daewoo there. V70 Porsche. Let's carry on down here, see what gems we can spot. Vido 911 convertible. So that Carrera 2, so that's the 2-wheel drive. Of course there was the Carrera 4, which was 4-wheel drive. A Jaguar X-Type, a very, very shiny X-Type, 3 litre, the V6 engine in it. The Citroen C2, Saab Cabriolet. The Bamboo edition of the 2CV6, that's a fairly late one on an E-plate. Lovely condition, that one. Like the green roof. The Micra convertible next to the Rover 75. There's still cars coming in. Wow. A bit of a poster car for me when I was a youth, when I was about Harley's age, was these, the 16 valve Saab 900 Turbo, the 16S with the body kit on it. Yeah. Still wouldn't rule out buying one of these one day. I'm assuming this has got the slopey front. Yep. Very distinctive looking car, very neat I think. Very tall windscreen, very wrap-around windscreen. So, yeah. Yeah, cool car. The early 900s. If you think you're looking at the early 900, check to see if it's got the different grills, because the early ones had that set of grills also repeated over there, but they got rid of that fairly early on in production. Merc 190E and a Porsche 928 alongside that. And we'll just continue our stroll down the road, just having a general look, just to get a general picture of what you'll see here at Rustival if you decide to come in future years. Quite a few moderns, quite a few oldies, and here we have the little standard 10, the one that we spotted when I was just stood over there capturing some of the arrivals. Many modifications under here. Guessing maybe Herald or a Spitfire engine, the bigger version of the old SC engine. Of course, originally this would have had a 948 unit. This one's got twin SU carbs on it. It's a Leyland branded manifold. So what's this off? Maybe a late Spitfire or something like that. Could be a 1500. Oh, what a great little car that is. I bet that goes really well. The Burbly V8 there from the mid-1980s. What a fantastic sound. Yeah, there's certainly plenty here. So, good job I've got my boots on, my comfy walking boots. Well, there's quite a few Twingos here today, and including this little pedal car. Oh, I assume it's pedal, or could be electric, I suppose. Either way, I think it's got a little battery in that one. Fantastic. Yeah, considering they didn't actually ever sell these here, I'm surprised just how many Twingos there are today. So that's always good to see. Loads of them still in use in France. So we'll just have a look down here. Maybe I should just try and do two at the same time, two sides at the same time. We've got a CX down here and the later XM, Citroen XM. Incredible car, incredibly complicated car by all accounts. So shades of CX and more than a hint of SM about the lines, the way the rear wing goes along there. Quasset. Is that a special edition version of the CX? The CX22 TRS. I love the concave rear window on these as well. Right, let's carry on over here. I'll try and do two sides at once. A slice of British Leyland 1970s style here with a couple of classic dollies. The Citroen Xantia pairing here, one with a great little caravan on the back. We like a bit of that. But even more, we like this Peugeot 504. If you've seen the France trip video that I put live just a few weeks ago, you'll see that we did encounter one or two of these during our time driving around France and looking for old cars, including a very faded example at the Station 70, I think it was called, Motor Museum. So if you've not seen that France trip video yet, I highly recommend checking that one out, because if you like your French cars, there are plenty to be found in that particular upload. Yeah, very neat looking car, I think these. I do like these. Peugeot Automatique. Great colour as well. Another slice of British Leyland here with a two-door russet brown Austin Allegro. Looks to be in very nice nick, this one. Shades of Volvo 480 here, but no, this is the Honda Accord Aero Deck. Again, just a car you hardly ever see anywhere now. Wonder what the backstory is with this one. How has this one survived? Very striking shape. Here past the Golfs. Dad's got a V5 Golf in that shape, and here we have the Mark IV Ford Zodiac. What a beast this is. 1967, that one. So this is the six-cylinder car, the Zodiac. Very distinctive backlights on those as well. I think the fuel filler is hidden in the middle bit. I think that hinges down. Yeah. Compared to the Mark III that came before, which had the big fins, these were quite a sober looking car. Huge long bonnet. Over here, Survivor spec Austin Maxi still on the road, and that's what we like. Okay, another 2 rows here. Let's just go for a... Ooh, look at this MGA. This is quite a rakish looking MGA. The original windscreen has long gone and been replaced with this much lower assembly here. Must be quite a late one with the little sort of stepped recessed grille on it. Many modifications. Got a quick release racy fuel filler cap on it. I wonder what the spec is of this one. Here's that Alfa Romeo SZ, the Zagato bodied SZ that we saw driving in. Let's have a closer look at this. Very comfy looking seats in there. Yeah, very distinctive styling. May not be for everyone perhaps. They're pretty sort of, yeah, not everyone took to them even when they were new, but they're certainly distinctive. Occasionally we see one of these down at Bicester Heritage, say the scramble meetings, you may see one of those there, but you don't trip over them all that often. Great little Metro here, the old mini Metro. Love the colour of that, that's immaculate. Daihatsu Copen there. Let's keep going, let's have another look. There's that Visa GTI, such a rare, unusual car, that one. I love the old Citroen dealer plates.
Red checkered interior. Whereas the latter one was sort of
very rare machine indeed. Next to the Escort we've got another SD1, that's the 2.6 litre SD1. Ooh, what do we have over here? An Austin A35, a 2-door Austin A35. XVC 375, so it's Coventry registered. Great to see that one is still on the road and in use. Next to that, 300 series Volvo. Right, let's carry on over here. So we've got an X350 Jaguar, the aluminium bodied XJ over there, Audi A2, that may be the one that I saw driving in before. What else have we got? These incredible Renault there. A couple of great minis over here next to the Honda. Very nice. So this one's also got a Mark 1 over here. Next to it, the Mark 2 on the Dunlop alloy wheels. I remember in the 70s my uncle built a Cox GTM, which was a Mini Cooper powered car with the engine in the back, and he had a set of wheels identical to that on it. Very unusual two-tone colour scheme on this one. Piccadilly Radio 261, blimey, I remember that. Broadcasting out of the centre of Manchester at Piccadilly Gardens, I well remember that. Yep, so this is the Mark II. You can see that you've got the slightly larger backlights compared to the Mark 1 alongside, slightly bigger back window as well. Still with the hinged number plate light and plate, so that you can drive with the boot open if you've got some really big cases to carry. And the number plate hinges down so the coppers can still see your car's registration as they follow you. So yeah, very neat. Various later cars, the Vauxhall Saab, Citroen C6 Estates, a Citroen AX. There's a neat little car. On the end here, a little Golf Cabriolet. Okay, many minis over here. We've got the Clubman Estate with the faux wood down the side. Slightly wider wheels on this, still with the original Clubman hubcaps. Great stuff. The little pickup over here. This one early 1970s, but didn't really change much compared to those that came out in the 60s, and indeed those that were produced right through to the end of the 1970s. Very few changes really. Very, very basic interior. They all had the slidey door windows and the exterior hinges, even though the cars by that point in time had gone to wind-up windows. Yeah, very, very neat little pickup. Another Clubman Estate with the fake wood down the side. So let's go and have a look around here. What can we see? BX is over there. There's no shortage of Citroen BXs here today. XJS, a Stratos, Over there, Mark 1 Vauxhall Astra. So one of the limited editions, I vaguely remember these. Sierra, 5-door Sierra. About 1985, that one. There's a little Hyundai that came in while I was stood over near the entrance just a while back now. Let's go and have a look at this Stratos. Is it a real one? Is it a Hawk replica? By the way, a very cool looking car indeed. Very much built with rallying in mind. Fantastic cars, V6, rear engined. Pretty groovy looking car. Yeah, great shape. Judging by the registration, this is indeed a later copy, but very nicely done. Another Skoda favourite over here. They must all be here, the ones that are on the road still. There's a Hyundai, an E34 M5 BMW, the 5 Series Beamer. So this was the replacement for the E28, the red one that we saw before. E34s were good cars. Very similar styling to the slightly larger 7 Series that was around. The E32 was a very similar shape to that. There's a lovely red TVR. Mustang, the notchback Mustang. There's that Citroen DS. We definitely did see this one come in before. Looks like a very original car. Left-hand drive, about 1971 this one. Yeah, really wraparound screen on this one too. Yeah. The D Super, hence DS. Oh, great shaped cars. I know Mrs. OCC loves those. Nice little mini special over there, one of the limited edition minis, and a Vitesse from 1967. The Citroen Diane. S-Type Jag. Rover 25. Midget. Got to see lots of old cars. The older cars, I suppose, are well represented. Got an Astra here. One of the later 2CVs with the rectangular headlamps. I never really was sure when they switched from circular to rectangular lamps whether it was a trim level thing or was it just an age thing. I'm not really sure. Ooh, got some free magazines. Yeah, I'll have a route through there if I had time, but let's carry on. More 2CV action over here. Ooh, Alpha 164. Lovely set of wheels on that. Wow. What have we got over here? Saab 9000. So this was Saab's interpretation of the Type 4 development that I was talking about before when Lancia did the Thema and the Alpha. So this is the Saab, the hatchback version. They did later bring the booted saloon version out of these. So you've got the Saab 9000 here, which was the Type 4, and just across the way over here we have the Alpha interpretation of the Type 4. So it's good to see those two close to each other. So yeah, kindred spirits under the skin. A Toyota Corolla here. More Skoda action, another favourite estate. This is the one we did see come in before, wasn't it, with the very appropriate reg. What is that? A Pontiac Le Mans. So it's like an American market version of the Vauxhall Belmont. The Belmont was the booted version of the Vauxhall Astra, but this is the US market Pontiac Le Mans. Wow, great to see that here. I've never seen one of those before either. I'm aware I keep saying that, but it's true. Next to the Pontiac is the Vauxhall Belmont. This is the Belmont CD. This is one of the posh upmarket versions of the Belmont, the booted Mark II Astra, effectively. Very smart. Yeah, the CD, the posh one. So it's great to see those two here today. It's got a Massachusetts registration sticker in the screen. 1996. Wow. Oh, I think I recognise him. Right. The 406 over here, the 406 Saloon. Yeah, there's no shortage of YouTuber types around here. There's Ian over there. Let's go over here then. Now this Renault 5 Gordini we have seen once or twice. I think the first time I saw this was at the Crew Heritage Centre. It came up all the way from Stratford-upon-Avon just to visit us at the crew meeting one Sunday a long time ago. And there's a slightly later Renault 5 alongside it. Well, what do we go along here? So let's see, we've got another V-dub here, 6-volt V-dub, and there is that Corolla. Or is it the Carina? Let's have a look around the back and cheat. Oh, I was right first time, the Corolla. Now earlier I mentioned for a time I was followed by a Mark II Astra, and this is it, the Astra Merit, a bright red car. This one followed me a little while along the M54 this morning. Yeah, we saw that one. Right. What is this? Tri-King. Wow, it's a drafty old day for that. It's a bit chilly today, a bit surprisingly chilly. We've got a 190 Merc on the end, with the Audi A2, the TVR Wedge, Lotus Esprit, Mini, Volvos, a Sirocco over there. And there's a couple of tasty looking Minis over here. But let's just have a quick look over here, because Fiat Puntos, don't stumble across these all that often. What is this Fiat Estate? Is it a Tempra? This, a Uno over here. Yeah, the Fiat Tempra SW, or station wagon, I think that stood for. 1.6 IE. God blimey, what a rare. I'm first to admit these cars are later than those I usually spend a lot of time thinking about, but it's such a treat to see so many rare makes and models that I remember growing up with, and assumed they'd all but disappeared, been wiped off the road. But no, there are still one or two in enthusiasts' hands. Look at this, a little Citroen over here. So this is a Citroen LNA, I think. Yeah, the LNA. This is a Citroen version of the Peugeot 104. Again, that French video that we did just a few weeks ago, put it out. That one we found some semi-dumped Peugeot 104s. And this is the Citroen badged version. Let's just have a look over here. Bit of info. Austin Cooper going off the late registration. It's a late one that's been given a retro styling, the early style Mark I grille, a crinkly Austin grille. The immaculate Morris here, the Morris version of the Mini. Again, retrofied, got an earlier number on it, so I'm assuming that's been bought as a private registration. It's got the early front on it, badge and grille, but note, wind up windows. So, yeah, like with Land Rovers, you get a lot of mixing and matching when it comes to Minis. Early backlights have been fitted onto it. Oh, a great pair of Minis, immaculate. Right, okie dokie. Right, another Clubman with the wood down the side. Isn't that just wonderful? I can hear another YouTube in the vicinity. Mark I Golf GLS. Oh, there's Ian again. Right, let's carry on down here. Yeah, so many different Minis, different variations of the Mini theme. I think the idea was with a slightly squared off front end, it just gave you a bit more accessibility to work on that transverse A-series engine. But as we now know, these were sort of produced for a while, then went out of production, and they carried on with the classic shape Mini for many more years. Volvo 240, a very original looking CX over here. Wow, proper barn find spec CX, this one. Lovely Mark II Triumph 2000, and the Van den Plas Princess, the 3-litre Princess. Yeah, what a handsome son of a gun that is. This was the big Farina, the sort of enlarged version of the body shell, first used like on the Austin Cambridge and the Morris, but this was much longer front on it, much bigger engine, much plusher interior. can see the unique styling at the back of these. There was also the 4-litre R, which had sort of horizontal lower set lamps. This is the 3-litre car. Lovely comfy interior, leather and lashings of wood, chrome. This really was a comfy old girl, this was. Little Prelude there, Toyota Celica. And look at this DeSoto, late 40s DeSoto. When Big Dodge was being restored all those years ago, there was one of these in the workshop. And yeah, what an eye-catching car. That one was in maroon. I often wonder if it got finished. Look at that. It's even got the spats over the rear wheels. Oh, fantastic. Isn't that just incredible? And again, the detailing on these American cars was just so extravagant. Yeah. What an incredible car. I don't want to get in this guy's photo, so I'll just stand back out of the way. Right, he's done. Windows are open so we can have a peer in the commodious, very plush interior on this beauty. How incredible is that? Look at that dash. Look at that. Isn't that just wonderful? DeSoto, one of those American makes that you don't hear too often nowadays. Yeah. Oh, what a superb looking car. It's got the old Fulton sun visor. It's a genuine one as well, because it's got Fulton sun shield just etched in to the end piece over there. We like details like that. What a sleek looking thing that is. Right, there's a DeSoto, very popular with photographers, and a lovely P4 Rover alongside it. 1964, the Rover 95. So many different variations of the P4s were produced over the years, from the early Cyclops cars onwards. This is, 1964. Always had the rear hinged back doors on the P4s. The front and the rear styling did change a little bit over the years, but the fundamentals were pretty much the same from the beginning to the end. The very early Cyclops cars had the extra central lamp in the middle. Right, we've got Triumph Acclaim, the first Triumph Acclaim we've seen. If you saw the video that I did at the BMC and BL day here just a few months ago, there was quite a good turnout of Acclaims. So if you like your Triumph Acclaims, the Honda based Triumph Acclaim, then check out that video when you're finished with this one. Right, what have we got over there? So there's that Celica convertible, Subaru, Saab, Aston, Ford. Right, let's keep an eye out for the next interesting vehicles. Freight Rover over here, a Rover alongside that. Right, we've got a few more oldies here. There's X-Type Estate, quite a handsome looking car. Porsche 924, great Mark III Ford Cortina from about 1970-ish, 71. The Mark 1 A40 Farina. We saw this one at Trentham Gardens, and that's the owner in the Saab alongside. That's her dad's Saab 99. Yeah, great to see those two here. And the Austin Mini Mark 1 on the end. Okay, we plough on and start this row with, well, look at a super little mini pickup. A mini pickup with a bit of extra shove, because I see Speedwell badge on the rocker cover, and a pretty hefty looking supercharger over there. Wow, a lovely period tuning conversion. I love period modifications like this. You can keep all your modern updates, electronic ignition and all that rubbish, but period tuning gear, period accessories and mods, yep, I'm all for that. What a great bit of kit that is. Yeah, what a fantastic car, or pickup rather. Got a Mercedes 124 Coupe, the C124. In fact, there's another one just over there. A little Honda Insight, one of the early ones. Okay, what can we find down here? A lot of these 700 series Volvos. There's a big Heimer motorhome there. Ooh, the Volvo 245. The Estates version of the 244 with that really sort of chunky front end. I was never entirely sold on the styling of these, even when they were around in the late 70s. But it's great to see this one. This was an evolution of the 145, which was the estate version of the 140 series. And the back end is in fact very similar to the 145. And you can see how they still use the saloon doors, because the top of the doors, the back doors, sort of taper down. They never modified the estates for the windows to go all the way up, which is always a bit of an odd thing. Always looked a little bit of a compromise. But chunky old fella, that one. Right, there's a 2CV over there next to the BX, another one of those little open top cars. Yeah, cars everywhere. Toyota Tercel, a four-wheel drive Toyota Tercel. It's not every day you see one of those either. Look at the interior in that. It's like new. And yet, what's that, nearly 40 years old. Got a 3 Series compact here next to a regular E36 coupe. Right, let's carry on. Lots of retro cars here, young timers. I'll try and include as many as I can, but apologies if I miss any out. Now this is an interesting comparison. We've got 2 Reliant Scimitars, the GTEs. This is the later SE6 here, and this is the SE5, or probably SE5A. There wasn't much difference, but compared to the 5 to the 6, you can see how much wider the bodywork on the 6 is compared to the SE5. That one takes up a lot more parking space than the earlier car. Both had the big Ford V6 engine in them. These were a lot more sort of, I think they were probably aimed more for sort of comfort rather than sportiness, whereas the early car I think was a little bit sportier. The fiberglass bodies on them both. Nice wolf race alloy wheels, door handles off, I don't know, Marina or an Allegro. I think the Lotus Esprit also have those door handles, and again the back similar but different. Wider car, slightly narrower car, and I think one of these would be a really usable daily. I know with fiberglass bodied cars you can have wiring issues, earthing issues, because of course you can't earth through the fiberglass bodywork like you can on a steel bodied car, but get one that's working right. I think that would make for a very usable car indeed. Right, I've got a Freight Rover. Big old Vauxhall Victor here, the FE Vauxhall Victor. What a beauty that is. Yeah, and just like I was saying with that Mark 1 Cavalier before, probably a very difficult car to restore if you've got ropey bodywork or interior. So you'd really want to start off with a good car to start with. Got an MGC GT next to that, and the Granada Scorpio, the Maestro. There's the Van der Plas 1500 down there, which is the VDP version of the Allegro in russet brown. Talbot here. This is the Talbot Solara. So we saw that Talbot Alpine before, and this is the booted Solara. And God, there must be only 3 or 4 of these left. That's amazing. Talbot 5-speed. Of course, 5-speed gearbox was a bit of a thing then. If you had that, you were a cut above the rest. You know, if your neighbour had a Cortina or something, they had to make do with a 4-speed box. But no, you got a 5-speeder in the Talbot Solara from 1985. Over here, the lesser spotted Citroen GS. And this was a saloon, just like the Leyland Princess. At first glance, you'd think it was a hatchback, but no. This was a saloon. This was the opening bit down here, and the window is fixed. Right, there's a little Astra Estate, and my brother had one of those as a company car, identical colour to that. Way back in the mists of time. Then we got a Fiat Uno from 1985. I don't want to miss anything out over here. The MGC next to the Victor. Very fetching shade of yellow MGC GT. There's a Scorpio, £5,500. There's a Maestro, and here's the little Van der Plas 1500. No mention of Allegro anywhere in the brochures for these. It was always sold as the Van der Plas 1500. This was the replacement for the little VDP 1300. Diesel tunes in the background. Very modified MX-5 over there. What's this? A Sangyong, what is it? Corando, 1997. Up here, Peugeot 306 Cabriolet, the Ford Cortina Mark III GXL. It's one of the posh upmarket ones with the twin lamps, vinyl roof and extra bits of trim. Right, let's carry on around here. Another lovely little Saab on the end here. Ooh, I see standards. So that's always good news. A Standard Motor Club represented by these two beauties. So what's this? A 12, a Flying 12. This is the pre-war Flying 12. You always tell the pre-war cars these were built either side of the Second World War, admittedly, by which point in time they'd gone to like the waterfall grille. This is a drop head coupe version of the 12. Oh, very nice. I think I've got some of those hubcaps in the garage. And next to that, a little 8. Of course, we like a standard 8. Ours is 1956. Not quite sure what year this one is, but it's probably similar. But yeah, fantastic. By which point in time they had wind-up windows. The early ones had the slidey windows and the little pop-up semaphores in here. So this is probably a similar age to ours, I would have thought. This is quite an unusual 8 because it's got the opening boot lid. Most of them didn't have that. The 10s did, but most of the 8s didn't have that luxury. So that's probably quite a rare car, actually. Right, let's carry on. Got a little TVR S3, fiberglass bodied, and a stunning Beetle here. Beauty in black. Really sets off the cream dashboard knobs and the steering wheel. Yeah, beauty, the slopey headlights, a bit like those on the original Morris 8 Series E. Very nice indeed. Last look at the two standards over there. Right, got the split window V-dub over here. Let's keep going over here. So we've got the Skoda. Is that the Estelle? The Punto Cabriolet. Rare sights. Alpha next to the Unos. Rovers over there. Ooh, what's this over here? Renault 12. Look at those mighty CBA lamps on the front as well. That is a very, very original looking car. What are those wheels off then? What are they off? A Renault 5 maybe? How original is that? The split window is running. Looks like it's about to depart. There goes the Beetle. We were lucky to catch these two before they head off. Yeah, there's definitely been a really good mix of older cars here. Ooh. Oh, I didn't see that from a distance. I think it's so small you don't tend to see it even when you're close up. A little Fiat Topolino. Topolino, little mouse, of course, in Italian.
I go to a lot of shows around the UK. Not necessarily to show my car. It's there if people want to take a picture of it, so I don't spend hours polishing it or anything else. I drive it.
So the other day we saw one of the facelifted Topolino estates, a little Giardiniera. But this is the earlier style front. And what a beauty this is. This makes our 4CV look big. Yeah. 1937, first registered in March 37. Wow. Wow, the steering wheel looks like that from the old J40 pedal car we used to have. Tiny, but beautiful. What a lovely little car that is. The 124 series E-Class Merc. This is time a saloon. We've seen cabriolets, we've seen coupes. This is the four-door saloon. 205, a 309 alongside it, and a Cavalier, Volvo and a Saab. Another little rear-engine Skoda. Looks like a much-loved example. Right. All sorts. The Marcos over here, and the MX-5 towering over it. So low slung is the Marcos. Let's carry along here. There's an X358, I think, era of Jaguar XJ8. I see some bits for sale over there. Let's just have a quick shufty. Anything we need? Oof. Many goodies. It's always worth having a look at stuff for sale out of the back of a car, because oftentimes it might be the first time that this stuff's been out of the garage in years. Very nice little Marshall lamp. I know where that little French lamp would look quite nice on the front of. Ooh, there goes the V-dub. Yep, certainly getting the steps in today. Right, here we've got a little Bedford badged van, the Astra van. I love the Alpha Giulia here on the G plate. Some of these I think were 1300, 1600 as well. Yeah, got twin cam engines in these. It's a Giulia 1300 Ti in very original looking paint. I know someone who likes these. What a fantastic little car that is. Look at this maxi in Continental Touring spec with these clip-on yellow covers, the little Lucas covers there. One time you have to fit those if you're going to go driving over in France. I do like these flat-fronted ones. Well, they're getting hard to find now. This is another saloon. So is this a GLS or a GLI maybe? A GLS. So this would have had the same 2 litre or just under 2 litre engine as all the other 900s. The GLS had the twin carburetors. The GL just had a single carburetor, and then there was a 900i which was the fuel injected, and then obviously the turbo above that. But the GLS probably quite rare now. Slate blue metallic, certainly a very unusual colour. Lovely comfy seats in these as well. Look at that velour trim. Yeah, of course the gear lever down there, and the ignition key goes in the ignition lock just down behind the gear lever. That was a quirk of these cars, very quirky cars, but that was one of them. First registered 25th of November 1982. Oh. Another P4 here, beautiful example in dark green. Rover 95. Again, lovely comfy interior. My youthful assistant was telling me how at an event we went to very recently, he got chatting to the owner of a car just like this, and he got to have a sit inside it, and he said it's the comfiest car he has ever sat in. So I suspect the youthful assistant might well buy one of these when he's able to insure one. Pair of the boxy little Rover 200s over here, the lesser spotted Rover 200s, little MGF, Mark III Ford Cortina, again a V6 car I think, 1300 XL Mark I Escort, Fiesta, BMW Z4 over there, various cars, slightly later cars over there, a great little Moggy there, a little Morris 1000, Mark II with a 3.4 litre engine in it. Proper car, nice to see the old Blumels number plates on it as well, like a bit of that. This Alpha is one that I followed down the M40 for quite a few miles until junction 12 where we pulled off for here, the British Motor Museum. And here, somewhat modified Skoda, rear engine Skoda. Look at this Skoda, my goodness me, a Skoda. I think that's an Octavia estate. By gum. I know back in the mid-1990s I often used to go out at the weekend just for driving around rural areas, usually in our old Volvo Amazon, just seeing what interesting things we could find. And somewhere over, I think it was like New Mills or Chapel on the Frith, somewhere over there, we were just driving along, went past a farm, and outside it on the verge was a van version of one of these. I couldn't believe it. I screeched to a halt, took some photos. I think photos have appeared here on the channel before of this incredibly rare Octavia van, but to see this estate version, the same shape, well, what a treat. Definitely one of the highlights of the day for me. this super rare little estate, left-hand drive. Wow, that is something else. The gentleman who owned the van, he invited me in to have a look in his buildings, and he had a Bristol 406 covered in pigeon droppings in a barn, which had a broken engine, and I think they made fewer than 100 of those 406s, and there was a Sunbeam Talbot Roadster and a Topolino, I think, in pieces in one of his other buildings. So yeah, it's definitely a worthwhile stop, that was. But yeah, to see this fantastic estate today alongside a lovely Welsh registered Vitesse. Oh, what a treat that is. And next to that stunning Skoda, we have this, a Citroen ID19. Wow, note the different headlamp arrangement on these cars. It's right-hand drive as well. So I'm wondering if this is one of the Slough assembled cars. I love the little marker lights on the top there.
When they sent the minivan to Australia, the first thing they did was put 13-inch tyres on it, and then put the 1300 engine in as well. They go, there's the engine.
Wow, look at these. What's this all about? Never noticed those before, but then again, I don't often come across ID19s, but I don't remember ever seeing these vents set in to the front wings like that. What's that all about? Let me know in the comments, please. Of course, very similar to the DS when you get back here. And again, lovely little detail, these little built-in sort of parking lamps on there. Let's just try and get around here through the undergrowth. It's got a full-length roof in this one as well. Lovely early dash as well. I'm not sure if you can see through the window. You've got that very distinctive single spoke. What a beautiful car that is. What a fantastic car. And I love these separate little CBA lamps on the front as well. You've got Lucas, the regular Lucas 7-inch lamps on the front, and the French CBAs just there. Yeah, what a great car, and you can just about see the spare wheel there. Just there. What a great car, and unusual being a right-hand drive. Right. There's a little Mitsuoka 1360 Herald convertible. Cavalier over there. Getting a bit peckish. So what do we have over here? Is this a Carlton, I'm assuming? Looks like one of the higher spec ones, if it is. Yeah, the Carlton 2000. Metallic paint. Probably tinted glass. Rich velour interior. Usually a sign of one of the higher spec models in car ranges back then. And over here, a Lada. A mate of mine had a Lada, and we used it to tow the remains of a Lotus XL on the world's heaviest trailer back from South Wales. We came back overnight with this gigantic trailer and the Lotus on the back. We could do maximum of 38 miles an hour. Any more than that and the whole lot started weaving, and we nearly flipped it on the Severn Bridge. So that's my abiding memory of driving one of these old Ladas, the Lada Riva. Yes. Right, let's carry on up here. MX-5, BX and Allegro Estate, Mark II Escort over there. Ooh, Citroen van, we need to have a look at that. Bit of info in the window. Citroen AZUB 2CV van 1972 ex-French post office and imported here in 2006. Great little things, remind me so much of the Citroen H vans. Right. Bonnie little Escort there. Citroen Peugeot. Allegro Estate. Next to the BX GT. A friend of mine's mum bought one of these new from Reeds of Cheadle in the late 1970s. Hers was bright orange. I think it had the smaller backlights, so I don't think hers was an Allegro 3. I think it was on an S registration if I remember correctly. Yeah. My abiding memory of travelling in the back of that was the rear seats were covered in like this sort of black brushed nylon. And when if you were a bit energetic, jumping in the back and sitting down promptly on the back seat, you could feel through the seat. It was so softly sprung that even there's like little children, we jumped in the back and you could feel like a cross member under your backside. It wasn't the most comfortable of places to sit, I must admit. Right, Renault Clio, more BXs, good grief, I've never seen so many Citroen BXs in one place before. And here, a little Mazda 323F. I almost missed this Suzuki Carrier when I was walking around here before, next to the P4. Probably quite a rare sight now, very similar to the little Bedford Rascals, that kind of size vehicle. Very bonny and very few around now.
You've got card yourself. Alex, put it on the Karina. Yeah, but I don't ruin the paper. It doesn't ruin the paper. Yeah, put it on the front.
Sun visor on.
Angela Joe.
There are so many pseudo YouTubers there, it's ridiculous.
I've seen pictures of the Ranger.
Suzuki brought the cappuccino. Yeah, they did.
I've removed technical information or the more nuts and bolts information. Other people.
All heritage coming. You've got Jaguar there as well. Is you've got an enormous amount.
Their own idea of what's interesting to them. So it's really hard.
These guys are great.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, in this very shiny building over here you will find two things. You will find the Jaguar Daimler Heritage Trust collection, which is pretty special assortment of cars, including some of Sir William Lyons' own personal cars, and you will also find the reserve collection of the main British Motor Museum, which is over there. Now, there are separate videos already here on the Old Classic Car channel for both the main Jaguar Heritage collection in there and also the reserve collection and indeed the main museum itself, so I will include links to those at the end of this video. I don't think I'll get a chance to go around inside there today because I'm really concentrating on the main activities that are outside here. But yeah, this is a pretty whizzy looking new, well, I say new shape XJ. It's a 2012, and of course the XJ is no longer being made in any form, which is a bit of a shame. So hopefully one day they'll resurrect that name and we will see new XJs on the road, but for now we'll have to keep the old ones going. But yeah, I'll include links to the other Gaydon videos at the end of this one. Public car park, there's a Saab 9000 just leaving down there. Talking of Saabs, we have another 96. And look at this, Ferrari 400i. Front engine V12, just like all proper Ferraris. What a treat. Right, I'm sure there are probably lots of really interesting cars here in the car park. Look at this old Landy Series 1 here. A nice Fiesta, very clean Fiesta alongside that. But I don't think we're going to have time to walk around the entire public car park. Look at this little Reliant Rialto over here, very original looking. Made in Tamworth in Staffordshire. Right, where am I? Right, over this way, because I think it is time for a quick sandwich. Quick sit down, quick sandwich, and then we'll be good to go for the rest of the day. There we are over there. Right, that's it, sandwich is done, let's get back in there. It's a little bit quieter over here, so next to the Ital estate is that great little fastback DAF 55. Looks like it gets used with a bit of historic rallying, guessing by the proper harnesses in the back there, or in the front rather. Bucket seats.
Under the back of it.
What a great little car that is. Very amatic. Yeah, so it's like CVT transmission in these.
Yeah, it's black.
And the second one, so I now work with a...
Here's that little Citroen C15 camper. Have a quick peer inside, the door's open. Oh, it's very compact, very cosy, but everything you need all in one place, and it certainly beats a tent. That's the way I always look at any small caravan or camper. It's always better than a tent. The bonnet is up on the NSU R080, and there is a pretty compact rotary engine. Many of these were converted back in the 70s and 80s into Ford V4 power. I wonder if any of them have been converted back to the original rotary engine.
6 different desks for different stamps you've got to have, but none of them speak English and none of them tell you where to go. They just tell you to go away. I was on no sleep. The fog was so bad.
Doing a lot of motorway driving can be tiring.
Off goes a Maxi. Add in a couple of Volvos and a VW. There goes that cracking 900 GLS Saab. What fantastic condition. Next purring interview with very distinctive gear whiners, that lovely Riley 1.5. Bit more YouTubering going on there over on the left, just in time to see this wonderful Saab turbo come past. And also this magnificent P4 Rover in dark green, a Rover 95. What a beauty that is. Very civilised straight six purr with that one. While emitting V4 sounds, there's that great Saab 95. Buzzing along very happily. Volvo C70, the 5-cylinder car. There's the Triumph Acclaim. Also leaving is that rare four-wheel drive Toyota Tercel. Leaving now one of the X300 series Jaguar XJ6s. Honda Accord Aero Deck, one of I think two we've seen today, different shapes, different eras, but quite rare car now. Another P4 departs. Classic rangy 3.5 V8 Range Rover. The Vauxhall Victor FE is going as well. Another rare survivor from the 1970s.
Okay, Ian's coming up the stairs. I can feel his approach. Is he moving up towards me? Come on, Ian.
Yeah, I've had an amazing time.
Of course you have.
I've no voice left and no energy left in my soul. I'm dead now. I'm ready to lay
Well, Josh took that and he ran with it. He ran with it.
Great. I know. It sounds so wrong. Anyway, brilliant. Okay.
Bless him, he has been in the wars recent times.
He's back.
so brilliant, so different in every possible category.
And he was a stalker, was then life in prison. Did you know that?
There goes our lovely Standard. S-Type R, I think. There's a car you don't see too often, the Fiat Uno, 1985. Wow. And here we go, the little Standard 8. Purring into view, the little 803cc engine. Purring away to itself there, burbling away. Some of the award-winning cars of the day are over here, and it's great to see this magnificent Cresta picking up an award, because that truly is a real Bobby Dazzler, if ever I've seen one. What a beauty that is, and this is such a rarity as well, this Mazda 626 with the four-wheel steer. Never ever seen one of those before. And here, the 520, I think this was car of the show. It's an incredible vehicle. Sold new in South Africa, went to Portugal, and amazingly ended up over here. And so original, this old Beamer. The old E12 5 Series, a very rare sight now, especially in this colour. Well, there are one or two gaps just starting to appear in the main parking areas now. You can see that standard is still on manoeuvres over the way, so I think we will start to wrap this one up. So thank you so much for watching this video here at Rustival 2 for 2024. Please check out the rest of the channel if you're new to the Old Classic Car channel. Please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, because there'll be loads more videos like this planned for the rest of this year and indeed next year, 2025. So thanks very much for watching, and bye for now.